Hey YouTube, we have a new deck today. We are trying some Abzan Adventure. They got some new additions to the deck that make it pretty good. Um, we got, what is it? Binding of the Gods. We got Kaya. I think it's pretty good with those cards. The sideboard, we didn't get anything. Oh, we got Mass Vandal. But Kaya is a very good card, especially if you're running a creature package. Like it gets the card back into your hand. And Binding of the Old Gods, obviously that card's very powerful. Obviously, it's a lot more powerful if you're playing it in like a Yorion shell because you keep blinking it. But the fact that it could get rid of any non-land permanent is pretty strong. So I figured let's try building a adventure deck Abzan so that way we could play it. I know there's a Naya Adventures going out, but they play Showdown. So I'm trying to see which one would be better. If it's Showdown or Binding of the Gods would be better. So the red gives you Showdown, the black gives you Binding of the Old Gods and Kaya. So, but yeah, this is Abzan Adventure. Before we get into the breakdown of the deck, go ahead and if you haven't done so already, please hit that subscribe button, hit that follow, hit that notification, follow me on Twitch. Check the description of the video. I always post the deck list in the description of the video as well as where or you could just follow this part right here that I stream on Twitch usually 6 maybe 5 to 6 days a week, sometimes 7. They're usually short streams. I only get to stream maybe or play technically 3-4 hours a day anyways, so usually the streams are kind of short. But yeah, go ahead and hit that subscribe button here on YouTube. Follow me on Twitch. Check the description of the video. But yeah, let's get down into the breakdown of the deck. So it's Abzan Adventures. So we're obviously going to have the adventure package. Giant Killer, Shepherd, Murderous Rider, Love Struck Beast. So we have to keep the adventure package in. We're using pretty much Edgewall to use these adventure creatures to get us some card advantage. And these adventure creatures are good. So 3 giant killers. So this deals with high creature cost. Like we can kill other love strucks. We can kill Winnotas. We could kill, I don't know, just big dudes. And then at the worst case scenario, we could cast it as a 1-drop with Edgewall, draw a card, tap creatures down. We have 2 blood chiefs to deal with the early interaction. Like against the food decks, we want to get rid of Gilded Goose as soon as possible, so we have 2 of those as the early interaction. 4 Edgewaters is an adventure deck. You have to keep 4. Shepherd, I'm trying it at 3 of. I think you could get away with it at 2 because outside of returning, say, like a Binding Gods or ECD, maybe even Kaya, it's not really that great. It's a 3-1 for 2. And if you don't have Edgewater in play, it's just a 3-1 for 2. If you have Edgewall in play, then obviously it's a 3-1 for 2, draw a card. So we're going to give it a try at 3, see how it works. But if it doesn't work so well, this I can easily see be cut down to 2. So let's try it. 2 Scavenging Oozes. This is just kind of another 2-drop that could gain its life. It could remove cards out of the graveyard. I don't know if removing cards out of the graveyard is relevant right now, but it could remove cards out of the graveyard. 3 Murderous Riders are other package removal. So I can easily cut one of these. So let's do this instead, I think. I'm going to cut this and make this 4 instead. I think that's better. 4 Riders, 2 Shepherds is better. Like I said, this could only is really only good with these 2 technically. It could return your own permanents, which is great and all, but I don't know. We'll see. I think the extra removal might be better. 4 Love Struck. Obviously, we got to keep 4 because of Great Henge. It's a turn 4 Great Henge. 5/5 creates 1/1. 3 Mammoths. It's a land. It's a creature. We're only going with 3 bindings here instead of 4, just because we don't play in a Yorion deck, so we can't really blink it that often. Obviously it's a great card, but there's no room also for it like we have everything else. I want to keep it at 60 cards. 1 Pelucanos. This is against the rogue decks. It's also a 6/6, so if you're playing against other like Love Strucks, you have a 6/6 you can use. So you can block Love Struck, and then you can use the effect before damage, or even I guess after damage, but you could then also kill the 1/1, or you could kill the 1/1 prior to combat and they can't attack with the 5/5. So it's a good card and it has escape. 2 ECDs. We'll see if I want to move this up to 3. Obviously, yeah, Elspeth Conquers Death is a very powerful card, and since we're running a bunch of creatures, it can bring back pretty much everything. So let's see if we want to do that at 3. We broke the Planeswalkers down to 1 Vivian, 1 Kaya. Kaya is a very powerful Planeswalker, especially since you're running creatures, because it puts the creature back into your hand when you plus, and you create a 1/1 out of it. Or worst case scenario, you can use the -3 and it can exile any non-land permanent. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may cast a legendary spell from your hand from your graveyard or among cards you own with exile without paying its mana cost. Obviously, we don't have too many legendary spells. We have we have that, and we have Great Henge. Outside of that, we have no other legendary spells. So the -7 is not great, but the first 2 effects is good for our deck. So we're trying Kai out to see if it works. 1 Eerie Ultimatum, just because if our cards die, then we can Eerie Ultimatum them all back, see if that works out. And then 2 Henge to top it off because of the package. The lands are pretty basic. There's nothing really about the lands. So sideboard wise, I did 2 Chain Webs against the rogue decks, 2 Agonizing Remorses. This is against like the control mid-range decks. We can remove some of our useless cards, maybe like Giant Killers or Shepherds or Oozes, and bring in Remorses. 2 Heartless Acts, since we have only really 4 Murderous Riders, 2 Blood Chiefs here to deal with the early interaction. We might need some more early interaction, so 2 Heartless Acts. You could do one. You could do eliminates if you want instead, but it's up to you. We'll see if this works out because there are a lot of henge decks, and then showdown also. This kind of becomes useless, so I might change this. Actually, that might be pretty bad for us. So yeah, let's just change that to eliminate. I think eliminate would be better here, anyways. The only bad part with let's do 1/1/1. The only bad part with eliminate is if you play like against it is a tempo deck, you can't kill the dragon. So let's do 1/1. Matt's Vandals against other henges, showdowns, whatever, Doom Foretold. We have all these creatures. We could easily exile a creature from our graveyard to destroy something. Nightmare, once again, against control and against rogue decks. 2 Extinction Event is against the White Weenies decks. When they go wide, we can Extinction and just kill their whole board. We have 2 more Nightmares because, like I said, Conquers Death, just because, like I said, it's a strong card. We'll see if this ever comes in handy. I'm thinking about it now, and I'm just kind of like, what am I ever going to bring it in against? And currently, I can't really think of something where I'm like, okay, this is definitely a card I bring in against this deck. So we'll see. This might end up changing. We might not be playing this. If anything, this card might be better to run in the sideboard. Is it migrate? Is it migration? Okay, that's not how you spell it. Where is it? Let's see. 2 costs. It's a creature. Magistrate, I think it's called. So, where you at, Magistrate? Did I pass it up? Well, anyways, the creature is called Magistrate. That might just be better here, because Magistrate is good against the Naya decks or any adventure deck pretty much. Oh, here he is. Magistrate, yeah. So your opponents can't cast spells from anywhere other than a hand. So this is good against the Genesis Ultimatum decks. No, not against Genesis Ultimatum because it puts it into play. This is good against all the adventure decks. This is good against the Tibble Trickery decks. Because obviously if they use Tibble Trickery, they can't cast the card because it's not from their hand. But mainly this is in against the adventure decks because it's a 1/3 toughness, so they can't Bone Crusher it. And now they can't play the cards off showdown. They can't first adventure their card and then cast the creature side. So you could easily take that out for that, and I think that might just be better. So I'm actually going to do that right now. I think it's a very great card. So, and then the Vivian's against control decks. So let's go try. Actually, let's go ahead and try. Actually, hold on. So let's just try the Elspeth first. Let's see how that works. I don't want to change it and then just completely backfire on me. But yeah, here's the deck. Let's go give it a try on the ranked ladder, and let's see how it works. All right, let's see. We're trying some Abzan Adventures. Let's see how this works out. Abzan Adventures. Ooh, Arisco. Alright. We have 3 lands. I'm playing against a Yorion deck. We have 3 lands. We have a turn 1 edge wall. I mean, yeah. If we wanted to do a turn 1 edge wall. And we have Binding Gods, and I think it's fine. But yeah, there's no reason to do a turn 1 edge wall because then we can't cast anything afterwards. So play the tri-land first, so that way we can do edge wall the second turn. Another hedge, huh? So now we can put this on green, play edge wall, and play giant killer. Since we're playing against a Yorion deck, this giant killer probably isn't going to kill anything other than a Yorion. So might as well. Well, thank you, opponent. Thank you very much. Alright, so he's gonna kill. Oh, he didn't have black mana, so he had to give up the egg. Okay. Kaya. Kaya. Well, we have Binding Gods to deal with something if he plays it. Let's see. Oh, there's his black. So he's Esper Doom. Esper Doom. Man, I haven't seen Doom. Cling to Dusk. Okay. So this is the deck. I think they're probably playing. Because I know I've seen that list kind of floating around. So I think that's the list they're playing. Alright. I could Binding Gods the Golden Egg. It gets me a land. And then I could play Kaya the following turn. And it also gets me closer to the Henge mana. Yeah, let's do that. They're missing lands, it looks like. They went first. So they have 3 lands, we have 4 lands. So they're missing lands. They also use Cling on their own cards, so that way they can try to draw land. Yeah, it looks like they're trying to look for land. Yep. Alright, well, that's unfortunate, opponent. They didn't draw lands. Alright, so we're playing against an Esper Yorion deck, huh? Interesting. So what is good here? So Agonizing Remorse for sure. Nightmares for sure. Skyclave Shade, ECD, Vivian. We just want to become more control-y. They don't have any creatures really, so let's just go more control-y. Oh, we added so much, but there's not much we could take out here, huh? Alright, let's see. We need to take out, what is this? 8, 9 cards? Cut the Skyclave Shades. I have enough permanents I could start sacking for Doom Foretold that I probably don't need it. Murderous Rider. Pelucranos we definitely don't need against this matchup. They don't have any creatures really. Giant Color. Maybe, I'm thinking maybe 1 ECD or Scavenging Ooze, but Scavenging Ooze hits their cards? Scavenging Ooze doesn't seem great here. Outside of hitting, say, removing their graveyard for Dance in the Manse, you know, it doesn't seem great. Yeah, I'll just do the ECD. Because, I mean, obviously, Dance the Manse is their win condition, their payoff, their win condition. So, removing it seems okay. Opponent took a mulligan. We have 3 lands. Oh, we even took a Giant Killer out. We left 2 in the deck, and we drew them. Alright. Fable Passage. Triome. And we also took an ECD out of the deck and we drew them. We drew the cards that we took out of the deck. Oh, what? There's green in the deck too, huh? Okay, so this is not Esper Yorion. This is Esper Yorion Splash Screen. Interesting. Oh, we'll keep that. That allows us to use these giant killers to draw cards. That's a good card. Edgewall was a definitely good card off in the top. There's okay. So now we get to play Edgewall and the giant killers freely here. So Edgewall, giant killer, giant killer. Draw 2 cards, got rid of 2 cards in our hand that not really gonna do much. Well, thank you, opponent. Yeah, I got pretty lucky that Edgewall was on top. Ooh. Well, we go binding it, I guess, worst case scenario. Because we don't want him to be taking our ECDs or stuff out of our hand, so. Plus it ramps us. Ooh, that's a good one, though. That's going to draw them 2 new cards. So just play ECD on Yorion and go ahead and grab a Triland. Play ECD on Yorion and attack for 2. Attack for 2. Man, I might even think of making this into a. What if we made this into a Yorion Abzan Adventure deck? Since we have, seems like a decent amount of permanents, huh? So I'm gonna hold a Triumph here in case I need to cycle it. Ooh, Binding Gods. It's a Battle of the Binding Gods. Ooh. The Eerie Ultimatum. The Eerie Ultimatum. So I wonder what they so I'm assuming the card that got foretold is Doomscar. Because I highly doubt it's like a counter spell. So I'm pretty sure it should be Doomscar that he foretold. And I'm gonna keep the Triumph here so I can cycle it. We have enough lands already as it is. So that way if we cycle this and when we play Eerie Ultimatum, we get to bring it back. So we get to draw a card and then put it back into play anyways for free with Eerie Ultimatum. Grabs Yorion to hand. Alright, let's see what kind of. I'm assuming the green here is for like either Sideboard or. Oh, that's a lot of green, so. Oh, it's for Eerie Ultimatum. It's only. So I think I take Eerie Ultimatum here because it brings back more stuff than Dance in the Man's technically would bring back. Because his Dance in the Man's currently can only be a 5. So he can only bring back, I guess, 5 different permanents. Although they do come back as creatures, the Eerie Ultimatum could give him so much more value. Because he can sack Omen, he can sack Egg, and that's right off the bat 2 cards, plus the 2 in the or 2 in the graveyard. Binding Gods is 3. And we have our Eerie Ultimatum. Our Eerie Ultimatum can do I want to cycle this? Or do I want to play this as my land? Let's attack first. My Eerie Ultimatum could Binding Gods one of the Dance in the Man's targets. Okay, we drew another land anyways. It can Binding Gods one of the Dance in the Man's targets. It can, yeah, he's gonna do that. And then ECD could remove another target. Murderous Rider could remove another target. 2 to the top. Yep. Whereas on, see, he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I guess with Eerie Ultimatum, he technically, oh, he, no, he, yeah, no, he technically did have it because he has the whites, he has the greens, the blacks. Oh, he doesn't have it technically. All right, but look at this. We're gonna bring back a lot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so let's Murderous Rider the Omen here since it the Binding God. Never mind, because the ECD hits the Elspeth's Nightmare. All right, so Eerie Ultimatum. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, we had a pretty good All right, so Binding Gods, the Omen, ECD. Play Mammoth, that's our land, and pass turn. I think we have too much advantage now, but so he's probably gonna play Doomscar here then, because if he's attacking, I mean, I guess his creatures are more powerful than mine anyways, but I think being at 7 life, you would want to hold the creature back so you take less damage. Yep, Doomscar. Yeah, he's at 7 life. He's gonna want to hold that back. Doom Foretold, that doesn't matter. I want to look at his hand and I want to keep ECD in play. I don't think it matters for us to grab the land here. So I think we just sacrifice Binding Gods. I'd rather look at his hand than grab a land. Okay, we grab a golden egg. You could cast Henge here too into a Murderous Rider. He could eliminate it, but that's fine. We got the value from the draw. That was a hard cast. Great Henge there. Hard cast, great Henge. I think we're in great position. He only has a bunch of removal in Yorion. Sure. And our ECD is going to trigger here. Oh, that's a good draw. Our ECD is going to trigger to bring back our edge wall here. And then we get to draw a card off the Great Henge and put another counter on it. So it becomes a 3/3. Oh, never mind. Never mind. We still get to draw a card for Henge, but... Ooh, Vivian. Viviano. We still get to draw cards off the Love Struck. Good game, I guess. All right. There we go. Good game. All right. Abzan. So we're playing some Abzan Adventure this right now. It's a deck that I want to try out and see if it's any good against the format. Esper Mage, huh? All right, we get to play first. He's not revealing a companion, so we know he's not a control deck. Okay, this is a little better. So he's most likely a creature-based deck here. So it's bottom. Kaya's gonna be great. We have Murderous Rider to deal with something. So we have a turn 3 removal and then a turn 5 removal. We have 4 lands. We had to keep this hand. I mean, we could have kept the Giant Killer because it could be our turn 1 play. Okay, red. Red. Well, now if we would have kept the edge wall, I mean the the Giant Killer would have been so much better. So they're aggro. We don't need ECD. Because we would have drawn a card here if we would have kept the Giant Killer. Red, white, aggro. It's probably Winnota, I'm assuming then. No blocks. Another edge wall. Do I be greedy or do I just play the Murderous Rider? Greed or Rider? I think I have to do Rider. I don't want to take the chance and get overrun. Plus, this Rider allows us to block the Charger. And then, yeah, he gets to ping the edge wall, but that's fine. We have another edge wall in our hand. Plus, we fizzle out some life. Because the seasoned Hollow Blade's going to get in easily. That's fine. We'll take 3. No blocks. We're still at 19. We don't need to killing our creatures. Oh, Binding Gods. I don't think I want to Binding Gods anything here. Because I'd rather do Kaya on turn 5. Because Binding Gods brings the land in play tapped. So I think it's just better to do the tri-land attack with Murderous Rider. He's going to ping our edge wall, and then we could recast another edge wall. And we could gain 2 life here. Kaya would be a little bigger of a card because it has the exile clause. So we could get rid of Seasoned Hollowblade. We could also use Kaya's plus effect on Murderous Rider, get Murderous Rider back. Kaya. I think she's a pretty good card for if you're running like a creature based deck in the colors. Worst case scenario, she can exile a card. Protection from everything but 3. Luckily we have a Murderous Rider in play. Protection from everything but 3. Well, Murderous Rider can block that. Trying to think what other 3 costs we run. Oh, we have Mammoth, we have Love Struck Beast. Okay, so we have enough 3 costs or less. So play land, play Kaya. Now the question is, do I want to plus on the Murderous Rider here, or do I want to minus on the Seasoned Hollowblade? I think I want to plus on the Rider. I'd rather have Rider back in my hand, create the 1/1, kill his Haktos, and then use Murderous Rider later. If we draw a land, that is, we could use Murderous Rider to kill a creature and then cast it. Luckily, I mean, protection from anything but 3, huh? Ginger Brute, sure. Yeah, this is definitely a Winnota deck. He can't kill Kaya because we could block the 6/1. Nope. Well, maybe now he can. Maybe now. Maybe now you can. We're in trouble now. All right, we have to play smart now. Ooh, and it's a Kenrith too. Well, let's see. We could kill Hatos. We could chump block Kenrith, get Murderous Rider back into our hand. Kaya takes 4. Okay. So Kaya's not dead. We could create a 1/1, so we got a blocker. If we could draw a land, okay. Let's see. Ugh, Kenrith and Winnota, huh? It's like, which one do I go for? I'm pretty sure I kill Winnota because Winnota with Ginger Brute, he could bring out something else. Whereas Kenrith at the moment can only do what, gain 5 life or give things trample haste. We're at 17. We'll have a blocker. And we could do that same play again with the Murderous Rider, I guess. We could also use Binding Gods. This way it gives us a land, I guess. That's not. No, I think that's a. I think the Murderous Rider play was probably better. Because so I could have done, yeah, I think the Murderous Rider play was just better. because we could chump block, gain life, and put it back to our hand. So the first effect that we did of destroying a creature, okay, the first effect that we would have done to destroying a creature, it would have got fizzled out anyways because we would have gained 2 life. Obviously, we're in trouble here, but it's not a lost game. We are in trouble, but it's not a lost game. All right, so even if we double block Kenrith, Kaya dies. So we're not doing that. So Kaya, unfortunately, you're dead. You are dead. So do I just take 4, 7, 8 here then? I think so, right? Because there's no good blocks. We can't block Gingerbrew because it's unblockable. Blocking anything else, we just lose anything we play. We're at 17, so we could use some of our life as a resource. All right, so we can do that next turn. Let's kill Kenrith. Stop him from giving all these things haste. Shepherd was a really good draw. Shepherd. Because now we can return Binding of the Gods and then reuse it to kill stuff. Put this on white. So that way we could use Shepherd. We gotta put this upkeep stop here. Otherwise it's just gonna sack it without us triggering. No attacks. He technically doesn't have good blocks. I mean, so his Kargon or Kargon War Leader can't attack. His Gingerbrew obviously can. Okay, well now his Kargon War Leader can attack. Never mind. Another Season Hollow Blade. Okay. Yep. We could send 3 to block it. And we take 5, gain 2. So we're only taking 3. We'll go down to 4. And we get to get rid of one of the leaders. That will reduce the power of the other ones. I think that's a good enough trade, I think. And then next turn, we get Edgewall back into our hand. Yep. And on top of this, he could kill Murderous Rider and Edgewall. I mean, that's still good though. But we get to keep a creature. And then the flyer could block another creature later down the game. Let's return the Binding Gods. And then we have enough mana to play, see, what is it? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we could play Binding Gods. We could play Shepherd, so that's 6, and Edgekeeper, that's 7. Why did I get a alternate token and then a non-alternate token? That's weird. They're both the same Kaya. Huh. Yeah, it's kind of weird, see? Alright, Binding Gods. Let's kill the other Kargon War Leader to reduce these other dudes. And then it makes it so we can block Season Hollow Blades. Forcing him to discard cards. Mammoth, okay. That's another blocker down the road. But now our spirits could block the Season Hollow Blades, forcing him to discard cards. Protection from each mana cost but 2. Well, we have Shepherd, so we could chump that. He has a 4-turn clock against us. Shepherd. I'm going to grab a forest here because we have so many lands in play that if I draw the Triumph, I just want to cycle it. So let's see. I can return the Binding Gods, recast the Binding Gods, kill the Gingerbrew because otherwise Gingerbrew is a 3-turn clock against us, and then cast the Shepherd here to draw a card. Our spirits are holding the hollow blades back. Our shepherd could block the Hatos and kill it. So we just need to draw another binding guns. Okay. 3, 6, 9, 10 mana. We don't need to do that. All right. We're just gonna pass. So we have the board gummed up, and they don't have any good attacks. That doesn't do anything. That's fine. We go block with our shepherd to trade. I don't think that was a good attack. Another land. All right. Let's play the mammoth. And then I think we're binding the Usher of the Fallen here. I mean, if he attacks, I don't think they're attacking. It's just better to keep it off the board, though. We're at 3 life. We don't want to just die to something. Obviously, if they draw Embercleave, they win the game. If they play, I don't think they play Embercleave in Winnota, so I guess we are technically not worried about that. This is a close game, though. We stabilize sort of at 3 life here. All right, we're just gonna, I guess, force you to discard both cards in your hand. I guess that's where we attacked with the spirit. That ended up being bad. Yep, I guess he's gonna discard both cards. 2 lands. ECD. Guess we'll grab this now finally. This doesn't hit anything, but it gets my Kaya back. So I'm just playing this out because it could get back Kaya. Ooh, that's good. That's a good draw. Ooh, that's a better draw. That's a better draw. We get to draw a card and we have the lifelinker now. Oh, there we go. Let's create more bodies, create a 5/5, draw a card. That's what I'm talking about. Create more bodies. And then we'll keep... I think we keep the land here for next turn, so that way we can play for the mammoth. Since one of our mammoth has summoning sickness, I'll just hold the land back for the mammoth next turn. And then we can do like an alpha strike, because our Kaya is coming back. We could choose Kaya and bring Kaya back. And then that could be used... Alright, we're going to block. We gain 2 life here. You could kill the edge wall. Our love stroke could still attack because we have a spirit and we have the love stroke token. You're at 19. That happened, huh? Alright, so bring Kaya back. Kaya could use to get rid of Seasoned Hollowblade, and we can attack with everything. We can hold back, say, the 1/1, both the spirit and the... Oh, we could create another 1/1, never mind. But we could hold back the 1/1 here just to be safe. So we'll have like 3 creatures to block with. But I think this game is over. He's taking a lot of damage here. Yeah. So hold back the 3 creatures. He could block, obviously. Why didn't he block? Interesting. Guess he didn't want to give up the card in his hand, huh? What the heck is in his... it's on the Seasoned Hollowblade. Okay. Alright, so we won game 1. That was a close one, but we came back. Alright, so they are Winnota. I don't really have much against Winnota. Well, I mean, I have removal, but the Seasoned Hollowblade is going to be... It's a pain. It's going to be hard to deal with Seasoned Hollowblade. Alright, so ECDs... I mean, yeah, we get to remove... Kenrith and Winnota, but outside of that, they're all small. Pelucanos is a good body to block. We're going to keep that in. Scavenger News, Heartless Act. Scavenger News doesn't do anything against them. They have a 3/1 on turn 2. We have a 2/2 on turn 2. Doesn't seem great. And like I said, ECD is good. It hits Winnota and Kenrith. It doesn't hit that because that gives protection from... gets protection from everything but 2, 3, and 4. And So that means it gets protection from 5 regardless. I could bring in Agonizing Remorse to try to pick off a Winnota out of their hand, but nah. Invalid deck. Okay, let's try adding up. That worked. I guess I was missing a card, huh? Oh, that's right, because this deck's a 61 card deck. I forgot about that. I had to bring it down to 60. All right, we have removal, we have giant killer, and we have creatures. This is definitely a keepable hand, more than keepable. The question is, do I try to play giant killer turn 1? Hmm. Yeah, that's the question here is do I play giant killer turn 1 or not? Do I set up for other cards or do I play a giant killer? I think I set up for other cards. Huh. Swamp, huh? Do I need that? I technically have 4 lands. Because Mammoth is 1, and then the Pathways is another 2. So that's 4 lands. I don't think I need this. I mean, it is nice to have a swamp for Murderous Rider. So that way we could choose the Dark Board Pathway on the other side if we need to. But I think I'm going to bottom that. Alright, so he gets a boost here, or boast, or whatever you want to call it. Boost, boast, bast. Okay, let's just kill this guy so it doesn't make more. Oh, we could do this. We could kill it in combat. All right, opponent, what you got? Ginger boot. Pass to combat, but before attackers are declared, kill it. Allow him to get into combat first before we kill it. So that way they don't have any more other creatures that could play. We gotta put this on black because of Murderous Rider. I mean, and we have Mammoth for our other green anyways, that I have to put this on black. That's why I was debating on keeping the swamp or not. So that way I can choose Dark Boar Pathway to put on green if I needed to. 3. Ooh. Taking some damage here. We are taking some damage. Not this turn, but we are taking some damage. Not this turn. And it's going to start costing 4 to equip. Alright, let's create our life linker out there. So he's going to equip. Giant Killer. I think Giant Killer is a good one to bring out because it can be used to tap down Ginger Brute. And I'm going to hold this other Giant Killer in case he casts a Winnota. So we have a Giant Killer to tap down whatever the maul equipment is going to be on. And then we have the other Giant Killer to kill the Winnota if he casts Winnota. Yep. So you're hitting us for 3. We're regaining 2. Doesn't seem like it's a good enough trade. Obviously, you're an aggro deck, so you have to do it. We're kind of a ways away from Henge. Mammoth. I can attack, but that might not be great here because then the Usher and the Ginger Brute can attack. If I hold the Murderous Rider back, the Usher can't attack. And then I could use, like I said, Giant Killer to tap Ginger Brute down. I think I play this as my land. Maybe I play Mammoth as my land and cast the Shepherd as a creature. And then that still allows us... Oh no, but if I cast Shepherd as a creature, then I can't use Giant Killer activation. And I can't use the giant killer in case he casts Winnota. I think I just have to pass. I had to hold up 5 mana here so I could use Giant Killer's effect on board and Giant Killer in my hand. Oh no. I guess yep. That's not cool, opponent. Alright, we can kill Kenrith. We can kill Kenrith, and that's why we kept the Giant Killer in our hand. For that reason. I mean, obviously, I'm trying to kill Winnota, but since that happened, why not? Oh, we can kill Gingerbrew now. Especially since that's unblockable. We cast this. We can't cast the Shepherd because I have to kill up. But then, what are the chances they draw Winnota? Or another Kenrith, I guess. We're definitely killing Gingerbrew here because it's an unblockable creature. I think I just pass. I think I could just then if he equips if he equips the equipment to Usher, we could giant killer it. It's fine. Now we could giant killer it. So we take no damage here. Now we have giant killer to completely lock down his Winnota. Or yeah, whatever. I'm debating on keeping this because it's white mana. That's the only reason. Because it's white. We only have 2 white in play. I mean, we don't play that much white mana, but currently, look, as you can see, my hand is filled with white spells. Let's tap this creature down. 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 4, 5. So we can play a Henge here and play Giant Killer. And start gaining life, start drawing cards. Okay, we got the Henge. So it keeps what, white and green and black untapped. I guess that's fine. But I think I need the whites. Let's cast Giant Killer. Good thing I tap. Good thing I used the auto tapper here, so that way I didn't tap all my white mana. I think we got this game. We're at 11. We're back to 11. 4 creatures in play. We have Murderous Rider to deal with the Hollow Blade here and attack for game, right? 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, that's game. All right. Good game, opponent. Now we could just attack for 11. We drew another Murderous Rider anyways. There we go. We beat Winnota. Nice. Alright, let's play some Naya Adventures. Not Naya, what am I talking about? We're not we're on Abzan Adventures, not Naya. Whoopsie-daisy. Whoopsie-daisy. Whoops. Alright, I have no idea how to pronounce my opponent's name, so I am not going to try. I can't read that. Alright. Opponent gets to go first. Okay. Looks like they're either on Gruul or Naya here. And we kept our hand because we have removal, we have Love Struck Beast, Murderous Rider, 4 lands. Yep, or maybe they're on Gruul aggro. Perlucanos is good against Gruul aggro. We'll keep that. It's a 6/6 body that they can't beat down without Embercleave. Without help of Embercleave, or wait, what the heck? Then they got some new tools there that they're so the only thing that I can think of that they would foretell in the colors they're in would be that the mammoth, right? The 6/5 mammoth. Whenever it gets targeted, you got draw a card. That's the only thing I can think of. So we're gonna hold up Murderous Rider against it. And worst case scenario, if he doesn't cast it and cast something else, we could Murderous Rider something else. But I believe it's that card. Yep, Battle Mammoth. There you go. Yeah, because in the color season, I don't know if there's any other card that's being currently played. Could be wrong, obviously, but Battle Mammoth's not a bad card actually. It's a four. I mean, if you get it early, so you can foretell it, but 4 mana 6/5 is not bad. But I think I'd rather be playing Elder Gargaroth really in reality over it, because Elder does a lot more. I think 6/6 off the bat versus 6/5. It could either draw you a card, create you a 3/3, or gain you life. Obviously, the Battle Mammoth is good if they target your other creatures, but why wouldn't they target Battle Mammoth first? You know what I mean? Like they're gonna allow you to draw. Say they're like, all right, I'm gonna kill your 1 drop, then your 2 drop, and then your 3 drop. You could draw 3 cards. I'd rather just kill Battle Mammoth first. You draw one, and then I could kill your other creatures. The only difference, I guess, is it's 4 mana versus 5 mana. All right, let's drop a 6/6, and then we could do either ECD or Kaya next turn. Or now we could just fight this guy. We could do the 1/1 with Love. So I think we attack first and then fight, and then do the 1/1 with Love Struck. No, 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 no. Attack first. Do 6 damage over 3 damage. It's like, don't mess up here. And then use the mechanic, fight, and then create a 1/1, and that's our turn. So we use 3 mana to remove a creature. I'm cool with that, and did 6 damage. Questing base, sure. We have ECD for that. And we can hit them for 4. Obviously, we don't have any creatures in the graveyard, but that could technically be corrected if we could kill our own Polukranos, and then we could grab a creature we could grab it back from the graveyard. So technically we are fine. Because I'm assuming they're gonna cast creatures. If they don't cast creatures, they're gonna take what, 4, 8. They're gonna take 8 life. I don't think they're gonna take 8 life here. Oh wow, okay, maybe not. Maybe not. Whatever, I guess we'll just put everything on the board then. If you're not gonna cast anything. Okay, there it is. That was quick. Yeah, I mean, they didn't cast anything. I'm assuming they were trying to play around the ECD fight mechanic, but all right, so Blood Chief, Heartless Act. Don't think I bring anything else in here. Let's see. I'm not sure Ooze is great here. And I think Shepherd maybe not be good here. I could cut those. Do I need anything else? I don't think I need anything else. So Ooze for sure is not necessarily great here. I'm debating, I could take a Mammoth out. I could take, like I said, Shepherd or Mammoth, I think are the cards. Every other card in my deck is relevant. Love Struck's obviously a 5/5. Edge Wall you got to keep because your adventure package. I guess if I cut Shepherd, it reduces the adventure package. That was a quick game one, though. Gruul Adventures got beat down. 2 lands, double Edgewater, some Love Strucks. All right. I think I'm going to take a risk. It's not really a risk because technically we have the lands, so let's cast the 1/1 first. I mean, the token 1/1. We can put this on black, put this one on green. Brushfire, okay. Now we could do Edgewater into Giant Killer. I don't get to draw multiple cards, but Edgewater, I could use Giant Killer to tap his Brushfire Elemental down. And since we can't block Brushfire, might as well do a damage. So next turn, we could play the Malady if we wanted to, or we could just cast this 5/5. We'll see. Put this on black. I think we just cast a 5/5 and hold his Brushfire back, all while drawing cards. I'm just gonna attack for 3 because I can't block Brushfire Elementals. So the other play we could have done here was play the Temple, or I guess yeah, okay, well, I guess they couldn't, all right, they couldn't beat that, huh? Hey YouTube, we are here for the Sideboard guide of Abzan Adventure. As you just saw, we just played up against a Yorion deck, a Winnota deck, and it looked like Gruul Adventures. I mean, it could have been Naya, but I guess we beat them before we can see if there was white or not, but adventure deck. But yeah, so the deck is pretty good. We got it to Platinum 2 before we stopped playing it. As you saw, we just beat those 3 decks easily on the video. But before we get into the sideboard guide, go ahead, if you haven't done so already, please hit that subscribe button, hit the notification button, hit the follow, subscribe, follow me on Twitch if you want to see me stream these decks live. Follow me there. Check the description of the video. Always check the description of the video because I always post the Stream Decker link to the deck in the description. So if you want to easily export it to Arena and play it, that's where you can find it. You'll have the description of the deck. But yeah, go ahead and hit that subscribe button here on YouTube. Follow me on Twitch, and let's get into the sideboard guide. So like I said, it's still the new meta of Kaldheim, so we don't really know what is settling, but at the moment we know you're going to be playing against Yorion decks, Doom, either Esper, Abzan, whatever the case is. You're going to play against some kind of Doom Yorion deck. You're going to play against either, most likely, Rogues, because Rogues is out there, and some kind of adventure deck, either it be Naya, it be Gruul, or something like that. And either you might see a control deck, so obviously we'll do a sideboard guide against that, and I guess against aggro I'll also give you a sideboard guide for that. But like I said, it's still a new meta. You don't really know what you're gonna play against, so I'm gonna do 2 to 3 decks that I know you'll probably see somewhere down the line, and then we're gonna give a broad general sense of 2 archetypes like control and aggro, so that way if you play against one of those type of archetypes, that's what you can do, you know. So to start things off, let's go ahead and say we're playing against a Doom Yorion deck. So against Yorion deck, I like to bring in 2 Agonizing Remorses. This is against a Doom deck, obviously. 2 Masked Vandals, 2 Nightmares, and 1 Vivian Reed. Obviously, Remorses to pick off, like, say, a Doom Foretold out of their hand, or pick off a, what is it, Dance of the Manse, or Eerie Ultimatum. The Masked Vandal is there to destroy their permanents, so that way their Doom Foretold doesn't keep going off and off and off. You just destroy the Doom Foretold, and it's easy for us to get a creature in the graveyard, especially if they're destroying our creatures, that we can use this and destroy a creature. And then with Order of Midnight, we can return it back to our hand, use it again, and so forth. Nightmare, like I said, they're a control-ish deck, so they're just playing a bunch of spells. So this reveals their hand, and then the third clause of exile in their graveyard is kind of relevant because they have less targets for Dance of the Manse and Eerie Ultimatum. And then we bring in the Vivian because they're a control deck. This allows us to play creatures off the top of our deck as well as creating threats, so that way we can start attacking them. Obviously the minus effect is not really relevant here. It's more the plus and being able to play the creatures off the top of your deck. So we're bringing those in against Doom, and what we take out is I take out 3 Giant Killers, 2 Blood Chiefs, 1 Pelucanos, and 1 Mammoth. The Giant Killers and Blood Chief, these are mainly there. Obviously, Giant Killer, you could draw a card off Edge Wall, but it's not really worth it. So I take these out because they're not really running creatures other than Yorion. Same with Blood Chief, I take them out because they're not playing anything but Yorion. I trim the land down by 1 here, and Pelucanos, there's no reason because we mainly want this for like escape cards, and so a 6/6 or against creature decks. There's a 6/6 body for 4, so we really want that. So here's a text version in case you want to look at it. So like I said, you bring in two Remorses, you bring in two Masked Vandals, you bring in two Nightmares and one Vivian. You cut the three Giant Killers, the two Blood Chiefs, one Pelucanos, and one Mammoth. That's what I do against a Doom Yorion deck. So I bring that in. So the next one I want to cover would be like a rogue deck. Obviously, rogues is still a popular deck. I don't know how popular it will be down the line as Kaldheim the set actually the meta starts to get settled down. People obviously testing decks out, and rogues is still a strong deck in the test phase. It was a strong deck last set. It's a strong deck last set. It's still a strong deck this set. They didn't really get anything, but it was just a strong deck already that you'll see it. So against rogue decks, what I like to do is I obviously bring in the two chain webs because it has the escape effect and it could fight their flyers. They run what the Soaring Thought Thief and the one drop. I forgot what the one drop's name is, but they run those. So we bring those in. The Nightmares is the same thing. It can kill almost every single creature outside of Loras. It takes a card out of their hand and exiles the graveyard, so it makes Loras and a DM's Awakening more useless. We bring in two more spot removal with Eliminate and Heartless Act because we want to kill their creatures before they start milling us. And then what I take out here is obviously I take out two Conquer's Death. It's useless. They can only hit their Loras out of their everything else is 2-drop or less. So we take those out. Same with Giant Killers. We cut two of those because it can't kill anything because their creatures rarely get to 4 power or higher. The only exception would be Thought Thief if they have, what is it? The Soaring Thought Thief and or Guild Enforcer, I should say. The only exception is Guild Enforcer. If they have Soaring Thought Thief in play, then they could get up to 4 power, but it's not really worth trying to do that. So I just cut two of these. I cut one Kaya because it's an expensive card, and I cut one Order of Midnight because, yeah, it has flying, but it can't really block the creatures. So I cut one of those. And what I bring in here is, I already told you what I brought in. And so here's the text version in case you need to see it. So like I said, we bring in two Chain Webs, we bring in two Nightmares, we bring in Eliminate and Hardest Act, we cut two Conquer's Death, we cut two Giant Killers, we cut one Kaya, and we cut an Order of Midnight. That's what I do against the rogue matchups. I take those out, bring those in. So the next deck will see is obviously Adventures. Of course, you're going to see Adventures. I mean, it's just one of the stronger decks in the format right now. And so what I bring in is Magistrate is very good here because it has the effect of opponents can't play any cards outside of their hand. So anything not in their hand, they can't play. That's very great against them. It stops. So if you're playing against Naya Adventures, it stops the showdown, so they can't play the 4 cards that they hit. If they adventure any of the cards first, like if they play the spell side first, then they can't play the creature side. And in Naya Adventure, they only, I believe, run Bone Crusher as their removal. So they won't be able to kill it because it's a 1/3. And we bring in one Eliminate. What we cut here is one Giant Killer. I trim it down a little bit. I mean, yeah, I could kill Love Struck and Bone Crush, but I also already have Midnight and Blood Chief, Binding Gods, ECD. So I cut one. I cut one Mammoth and I cut one Order Midnight. Order Midnight, it's good that it could return things back, but the fact that it can't block is kind of problematic in a sense because if we get hit by a 5/5 Love Struck, then what are we going to do? But so that's what we do against the Adventure. And like I said, here's the Magistrate's effect. It's a 1/3 for 2, and they can't play cards anywhere outside of that's not in their hand. And obviously this card is good against if you play against a Trickery deck. They can't use Trickery against you. So turn 2, obviously you could do Weathered Runestone or whatever, but this also works against multiple decks where Weathered Runestone only works against the Trickery deck. So, but that's what I bring in. Like I said, I bring in the Magistrates, I bring in the Eliminate, cut one Giant Killer, cut one of this, and cut one Order of Midnight. So that's that. Now if you're playing against a control, I guess the control deck you'll probably be playing against right now would be probably the what is it? The Is It Tempo deck, I guess, right? I don't think you play against anything else control wise. I don't think there's anything else control wise out there that's being played at the moment. Obviously, once the meta settles, you'll see more control decks. But at the moment, it's like, is it control? So, but in a broad sense, this is against control decks. So what I bring in against control decks is two Agonizing Remorses because it picks off their hands. You want to take out their counter spells, their draw spells, whatever the case is. Same with Nightmare, it takes away their counter spells, their draw spells. And we also add in one Vivian because Vivian's good against a control deck. It allows us to play our creatures off the top of the deck for free. I mean, without using cards in our hand, and it creates a body. So it puts a threat on the board and allows us to play cards off the top of our deck. So it card advantage. And then what I take out against control is I take out 2 Blood Chiefs and 3 Giant Killers because they don't really run creatures, or they won't have creatures pretty much in their deck. So you just take out the creature removal package here. So that's what I do against control decks. Obviously, it could be different against Izzet Control because they do run creatures. They run the dragon and they run Brazen. But even if you're playing against Izzet Control, I guess instead of cutting the giant, I would still cut the Blood Chiefs regardless because of sorcerer speed. But instead of cutting the giant killers, you can cut the, say, Pelucanos. You could cut the 2 Order of Midnights. So cut the Pelucanos and maybe the 2 Order of Midnights, or even do cut 1 Pelucanos, 1 Mammoth, and 1 Order of Midnight, and keep the Giant Killers, because then the Giant Killer could do instant speed, kill the Goldspan Dragon. So if you're playing against Izzet, do that instead. So cut the 2 Blood Chiefs, 1, 1, 1, and then just add in the 2 Remorses, 2 Nightmares, and the Vivian. So that's against control. And then the last deck that you will probably play against is some form of aggro deck, right? Aggro is going to be obviously there. So against aggro, I bring in Eliminate, I bring in Heartless Act, and I bring in the 2 Extinction. So I bring in 4 cards. I cut the Elspeth's Conquers Dead because it's too slow against them. And I also cut here the 2 Order of Midnights because it can't block, and that could be a problem. That effect that it can't block for 2, I don't really want to spend 2 mana to return a creature back from my hand and then get hit for 3-4 damage and then cast this as a 2/2 that can't block. So I cut this because it probably can't remove anything, and I cut this because it becomes costly. Obviously, if you could drag the game on, this card does become really good because you return a creature and then you cast it. If you have Edge Wall, you draw a card. But like I said, it's an aggro deck. They're not trying to get to late game, and that's how I do against aggro. But yeah, so that's the sideboard guy. There's some general decks there, control, aggro, and then there's some decks that are actually being played on the ladder right now. And so that's how I sideboard against these decks. This deck is pretty good. It's a different take. It's obviously Naya. It has the red for Showdown. I have the black for Binding and Eerie Ultimatum pretty much. Obviously the other adventure cards, the cheap removal in the sideboard. So, and I mean, it's preference if you want to run red or you want to run black, but this is a different take to it. Yeah, so give it a try if you want to try this deck out. It's solid. It got me to Platinum 2 so far at the reset of the Mythic season. But yeah, hit that. But like I said, please hit that subscribe button. If you want to follow me on Twitch, go ahead and follow me on Twitch. Check the description of the video. You'll have the Stream Decker link down there. But yeah, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Thank you for watching.